Okay, here we go. Michael Cullen.
I'll try to talk up.
Yeah, that's better. And your adoring fan club.
Oh, I don't know about that. Anyway, this will be good humor. Hopefully, we'll have a few laughs.
I think it will be. I think it'll be loads of fun to watch. So, yeah, just welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on this relatively new platform, Twash. I know it's a technological challenge for oaks who are as old as us,
Keepers, I tell you what, it is a bit of a challenge, but also I've learned a few things in the last, while preparing for this, so it's good. It's all good. Never too old to learn.
Amazing, Tosh. So we've got about an hour. The format's pretty simple. We're just going to have a very relaxed chat. I must tell you that there's been a groundswell of interest in this particular interview, Twashi. Guys are very keen to hear about your extreme fitness regime, your dedication to training. You know, there's some gems in here that I think the younger generation can learn from. So I've had guys phone me like crazy today, yesterday, so many messages. So I know we've already got 50 oaks online now, which is amazing. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoy the next hour or so.
How's it, everybody? Not quite sure I agree with all of that, but anyway, let's see. I'm sure there's some good stories out there, and we'll get through it in the next hour.
Twashi, just by way of introduction, you played 199 times for South Africa at outdoor hockey. You scored 70 goals in your prolific career, which lasted from 1993 to 2006, which is a hang of a run. An absolute champion on the field, definitely one of the best strikers that modern field hockey's ever seen, I would say, and obviously a legend off the pitch and a lot of fun to be on tour with in terms of a little bit of mischief and lots of fun times.
Thanks, Juan. Yeah, that's sort of how I always wanted to play my hockey. I mean, I think obviously the stats there's nothing you can do about, but I think I played hockey because I loved it. We didn't make a lot of money, and for me, the enjoyment was not only on the field. That was important, obviously, but I think also there's some lovely oaks in and around the hockey circles, and that was important for me. So I think getting a balance between the two was always my goal.
And Twash, I want to recount two little anecdotes that I can remember. My first time I ever saw you play, and I want to tell you a little bit, or tell the folks out there about the first memory that I have playing with you for South Africa. I remember the first time I watched you play. I was 15 years old. I was sitting at Queensmead with Jodax and with Grant James, and we were playing in an SA under-16 little 3-test series against England. In fact, John McEnroy was playing for England under-16s against us, and we were sitting in the stands, and Gongs had a game. It was a Friday night game or whatever, and I remember did you have Wilkinson's sword as a sponsor on your shirt?
Yeah, that's right.
I seem to remember Wilkinson's sword and thinking, geez, these oaks are sponsored by a proper brand. This is the big leagues, you know?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And I remember I was from Maritzburg, so I didn't know you. I'd never watched you play. Well, I actually hadn't seen any Natal League hockey, but I remember you scored a hat trick that night, and I remember Jamo just going like, watch number 10, that oak. Like every time he gets the ball, something will happen. And I remember we watched that game, and you scored 3 classic Cullen goals where you just picked it up in space, like the top of the circle, and then it was like the defenders just didn't have a clue. The good old Cully body feint, sent the oak one way, smashed it in the corner. The other one, you sent him the other way, smashed it, reverse stick in the other corner. And I think the last one was one of those ones where you dribbled pretty much around every defender and the goalkeeper and like rolled it in casually, reverse stick, and ran back to the halfway line. So I'm pretty sure you can't remember that game because you played about 1,000 Premier League games in your time for Gongs and obviously for Tech and a lot of other clubs after that.
Right.
So that was the first time I ever saw you play, and I was like, Jesus, this oak has got proper goal-scoring finesse. And then the second little anecdote as an introduction, Twash, was the first test match I played with you was in my debut series, that 5-test series against Spain and Joburg. And I remember receiving an overhead from one of the Spanish, like right half, he chucked it across the whole field, and I got underneath it, and I brought it down quickly, and I think it was Neddy or one of the other strikers made a lead and took about 3 attackers away because obviously they thought he was dangerous and not you, Tosh, you know. And there you were in space at the top of the D, and I smashed this thing to you. And again, like in a flash, you had received that ball, turned on a dime, and you were just doing the old top body wobble, and the ball was going one way and you were going the other way. And I remember you got a shot off. I don't know if it went in or not. I can't remember, but I just remember thinking, geez, every time I get the ball and I look up, I'm just going to fire it to Cully. And I think I've been doing that for the last 20 years.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, thanks, Juan. I mean, those are some, obviously, I don't remember those specific incidents, but I mean, the wobble and whatever, that was always the fun stuff. I enjoyed that, eh? Yeah.
Absolutely. So, so Cully, just to kick off, tell us a little bit about the early days of Gongs, Lower Ambilo and Kongela, playing with, you know, Rob Crombie, School of Hockey, the Smiths, the Mallets, that kind of early formation of your game.
Yeah, so exactly right. I started I was at Penzance Primary, and you know, sometimes you look back on things and maybe it was just fate or luck, whatever it is, who knows. But I remember we used to play soccer, and they stopped soccer and they started hockey. And Rob Crombie his kids were also at Penzance, and he was phenomenal as a mini hockey coach and whatever. And he really drove mini hockey, took us to Gongs, and that's where we sort of got introduced to the game. And it's amazing how many of those guys who started, you know, the Smith brothers, the Urbachs, the Mallets, how many guys have just continued through that and have played good quality hockey and are still playing hockey. And that's amazing. So, I mean, Rob really has got to take huge credit for that. He really was sadly passed away a few years ago. Then I went on to play I went to DHS and I played at Gongs. Very fortunate. I had Vaughan Bradfield, well, fortunate or unfortunate, I'm not sure. I had Vaughan Bradfield take me under his wing. Probably one of South Africa's most talented players at that time. And I think a lot of that wobbling and whatever, and I think also the off the field. Vaughan also, and he was my hero. I loved Vaughan and loved the way he played. So luckily, I kind of through my whole school career found my way in good situations, and you know, yeah. So that was the early days, and also, sorry, I mean that's so many teams we used to have in those days, and old man Brad. I mean, the circle was amazing. He was a buck in his day. We used to play on the worst grass fields you can ever imagine. You can imagine 7 team, you don't get playing at Queensmead on the Astro or whatever. And I don't think I ever saw him miss a ball. The Oak was absolutely phenomenal. And I think that was, you know, those early sort of years where those things come into your, and sort of develop what becomes important for you. And it was something that I always tried to pride myself on. I think I was quite good at it then is you know, that trapping of the ball. It sounds so obvious and basic, but I think a lot of people don't pay enough attention to it. And if you can trap every single ball in a game, coming at whatever speed, whatever height, whatever, you're going to have a good game. Because the rest will, if you can do that, the rest will take care of itself, I have no doubt.
Yeah.
And those are little things that I learned from old man Brad and it stuck in my head as a youngster. And so lucky to have Vaughan and some other really good guys in that Gong setup. Then I went on to Tech to study. Again, very fortunate. Gary Pio, we had a really good bunch of guys. Clarkey was there, Blocks, Cosy McNaughton, and then Oisey Brown, a whole lot of new guys pitched up. And again, really lucky that we had some fantastic years. And I think that was up to about 94 when I started breaking into the national team. So all of that build-up was I think, very crucial in getting me to where, and everybody played their little part along the way, which was, as I say, fortunate, because I had some really good people looking after me.
And then, Twashi, you debuted for Natal. You were still at school, weren't you? You were in Standard 9, I think, or Matric when you made your Natal debut.
Played for the minors at RPT in Matric. And I played for those years at a knockout tournament. I think it was for the Allied Cup or something. I played for the A side in Matric for that tournament, but RPT for the B side. And then they, obviously, those were still the isolation years, 1990. So I got put in my matric year into like a greater SA men's squad. But I mean, realistically, I think it was just a, stepping stone for guys. They knew, who was going to be maybe coming through in the years to come, So, yeah, I mean, that was pretty amazing just to be involved in all of that, as a schoolboy.
And at Twash, it was an interesting time. I mean, it was also, a lot of people don't know this, but you were obviously a phenomenal hockey player, but also a damn good cricketer. You played for the minors at cricket with, I think, Binky and Udo and those kind of guys in that era, Jonty. And you were also, if I'm not mistaken, a scratch golfer or close to a scratch golfer. Why did you play hockey and not go and make millions playing cricket and golf?
Well, firstly on the cricket, I mean, I think, I got played a lot of games for Natal under 23s, and I never got to play for Natal senior side. I think I played one game for the B side or something like that. But yes, played with all those guys. It was an interesting time because, back in the 80s and before that, I mean, your dad and our parents will know that. I mean, you played cricket in the summer, hockey in the winter, or maybe rugby in the winter, or soccer in the winter. There were definitely two seasons. By 1992, 93, they were starting, you take Jonty, for example. I mean, Jonty was a damn good hockey player. And definitely would have played for South Africa. He was an amazing striker. He still played at IPT, I think, 91, 92.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then cricket started so he had to make a call, I think I made the national team in 93, so hockey kind of pushed ahead of cricket for me. And to be dead honest, I don't think I was ever going to be a Jonty Rhodes in cricket, or I might have been a decent provincial cricketer, but I don't think I was ever going to be. So I think just the natural selection of, hockey was pushing forward for me in terms of making teams and going on international tours already. So, kind of just naturally pushed the others aside. I always enjoyed my golf, and there were times where I thought about maybe trying to go pro, but, again, such a competitive sport. If you're trying to do that when you're 20 or whatever, you need to start when you're 12. At least.
Yeah, sure.
So naturally, I wasn't at that level, and then hockey took its course, and then I was on the hockey river, so now you're flowing and everything's going. There were some rocks in the way.
Absolutely. And Cully, in those early days, a lot of people don't know this, and I didn't know this until a couple of years ago, about how you got your nickname Twashi. I mean, you've had a lot of nicknames. Cully, Kundal, Cullenbitch, Koki Cullen, Bumhole, Salad. I mean, you've had all the nicknames in the world. But Twashi is the one that's stuck, and it's from those early Gongs days. Do you want to tell us how you got that little nickname?
Yeah, so those days, they used to put wash onto the end of most words. So it'd be like, hey, go get me a beer wash or whatever. I don't know. I don't know where that originated from. But being the lighty in the team, I was the light wash. And that obviously just got shortened to Twash, and then Twashi and whatever. So, the junior of the team sort of, I know there were a few guys in Joburg also became Twash, a couple of other guys, but it seems to have stuck with me. I'm not the biggest stoke in the world, so maybe it suited. I think it was a fit.
Amazing. And then Twash, obviously, you were one of the first guys. It's actually something that Jabba and Craig Carolyn in the last few days have prompted me to ask you a lot about. Playing in England, you're one of the first guys here to kind of go back-to-back winters, and it was probably ended up being about 18 or 19 winters in a row that you were England and then South Africa here. A serious one from Craig. He wanted to know how did the playing in England influence your development as a young player, and then when you came back to South Africa, did it impact on the way that you played here, or imparting that knowledge to the guys you were playing with in the local Premier Leagues and Raiders setup?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it was very important in my developments as a hockey player. From a on the field sort of standpoint is obviously you go over there that they sometimes play slightly different systems. You have different coaches. it's natural that when you're in South Africa, you're kind of all thinking in the box, and that's the South African box. And then you go to England, and they have their own box, which is sometimes all the same, but it's just a little bit different. You get new ideas, new ways of doing things, whatever, So, and the other thing I think, which is unfortunate in South Africa, is and something I've been trying to push forward, but it's so difficult just because we're so big geographically. Is the leagues in England, for example, no matter what league you're in, they're very competitive, right from the very top down to the lowest leagues, because you get relegated and moved, and you play according to your strengths. So, we tend to have a lot of mismatches in our Premier Leagues, or the lower leagues not so bad, but the Premier League certainly, because you get the top players kind of gravitating towards each. They're all mates and they play provincial hockey. Whereas in the UK, you don't get that so much geographically. Like you play in a national league, so it's much more competitive. And I think that in itself is every weekend you're going out to play a competitive top quality match, and obviously being a national league, that's kind of the same level, I would say, as our top provincial games. So if you can imagine, every club game is actually a top provincial game, well, you're going to get better. There's no doubt. It's pushing you in training, whatever. So it's something that I've always believed, that we will never be seriously competitive unless we can get some sort of national league going, because as much work as we're doing here, and with all due respect to the sort of lower players in the Premier League or whatever, the top guys need that. You need the top guys running at you if you're a defender. You need top defenders to take on if you're an attacker. All that kind of stuff. It's strength against strength. I mean, I always use stupid examples. I mean, Roger Federer can't go and play number 1,000 in the world every week and then, pitch up and beat Nadal the next week. It's not going to happen. He's got to play at a higher level every week, and then when those key matches come, he can compete. The gap isn't as big. If that makes sense.
And when you came back here to South Africa, Twashi, a lot of guys this week have been asking about your very regimented fitness and approach to training. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
All right. So I think we need to be honest here. That was never really my strength. The funny story, I remember Gav Featherston, we didn't really see eye to eye, and fitness was quite high on his priority. I remember we had to do that old test where, push-up test where the one mate puts his fist under your chest and you got to count the number of the thumb. That's it. Yeah. And I remember Clarkie and I were going, and Clarkie went first, and being the beast that he is, he decided or something. And I was like, oh my gosh. So he did it. I think I got to about 7, and you can see my arms starting to shake. And so he's like, was 7. My next one, I think, was 17, and then it was 25. Good mates. He looked after me. I think I got what was kind of just sort of respectable, but I think I actually did about a quarter of that realistically. So fitness was never my strength. I love I look back, and I wish I had been more disciplined in some ways and whatever, but I played hockey because I actually, when I was a real righty, I just loved swerving oaks. That was, I know that's what every coach tells the students, tell the young players and whatever, but that's what I love doing. So even when I got older, I just, the fitness was just a pain. I wanted to go. I love
play and score goals
because I just wanted to go to practice. I wanted to try swerve oaks. I wanted to win the ball, have a one-on-one against a goalie. Like that was the cool stuff. That's what I wanted to do. I wasn't great on the hard work.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously anyone who's ever watched you play or played with you, or worse for them, played against you, Twash, knows how you love to take guys on. And in this week, I mean, I had 2 classic bits of feedback. One was from Wayne Den, who obviously played a lot of hockey against you for Province when you played for Natal, just saying like best body feint in the book. Just didn't know which way you were going to go. Not only is the body moving, but the ball's also moving, And the other one was from Hackers, who played a lot of hockey with you at right half for for the Raiders, just saying like as a right half was a dream to have you play up front because he could always just hit it under his shoulder, and if you had centre forward, know that you would be in that space. But more interesting for me is that when it's one thing getting into that space, but it's once your pickups are phenomenal, and it's then like a turn, and the body feints, the hands go one way, the body goes the other, the ball goes the other, and then it's the acceleration. Especially I think in your prime, around about like 98, 99 through to 2003. I think like that was the kind of era. Did you train that? Was it something that just was always a natural part of your game? And are you looking at the defender? Do you know where you're going as a predetermined? What's the thought process?
No, I never really trained it. I mean, obviously I've done a lot of coaching, and it's something that I still believe in, because I didn't train that as such as like put out cones and whatever. But my philosophy was every time I went to training, I would try all those things, and yeah, some worked, some didn't. You realize that, hey, every time I do this, it works. Okay, well, just keep doing that until somebody works it out, you know. So that was, if that sort of makes sense. Like I really used my training against, not cones, against people to say, this works, this doesn't work, don't do that, do this, do more of that, you know. And to be honest, I think, you know, so I've done a lot of coaching during and since I retired, and I don't think the modern players do enough of that. I think they're all waiting for a coach to tell them, do this, do this. They've all got private coaches. You chat to half the school kids now, they all have private coaches or whatever. And my philosophy is like, guys, go and work it out for yourself. You know, go to training, put in the hard yards, because I mean, I didn't love the fitness, but I always believed that when I went to training, I gave it a full belt of training in terms of the drills and whatever. And, you know, go and work some stuff out for yourself, because we're also all individuals. You know, what works for me doesn't work for you. And, you know, and yeah, so that's kind of been my philosophy. So I didn't, to answer your question, I just did what came naturally. And that was like a natural thing. And I actually picked up a lot of that from old Sean Cook. You know, he used to have that. And
goose step in the inside pull.
Yeah, he had a bigger bum than me, so it was more effective. But yeah, that's where I learned quite a bit of that from him, you know. And I started to, and yeah, I was lucky. I had some good. My first 5 meters was always quick. I wasn't ever quick over 50 or 100, but that didn't matter on a hockey field. And yeah, so I played to those strengths, and I just worked off that, you know, because I knew that was always going to be, you know, particularly defenders. Most of them were big guys, and I just try to work what they didn't like. I try to do.
And I think the other thing, Kali, that stands out for me is the combination plays. You know, it's not something that we've seen a hell of a lot of with the current group or in the last few years. But I think in that era, I'd like to think of it as like a golden era of combination plays, where you knew if Clarkie got the ball at left midfield, or you got the ball in space, or Beefy got it on a counter attack. Neddy as well, like there was just I don't know, those combinations for me is just something that you know what the Oaks are going to do before it happens, and you can see and anticipate it. And it was like these connections were so good and they were so tight that you guys knew exactly what the guys around you were going to do before it happened.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I again, with my coaching, I don't coach out of a textbook. I coach out of what I learned on the field and what I experienced and whatever. And I always talk to the players, and I say, you know, I know, because I played my best hockey around patches where myself, Clarkie, Beefy, and Dubba used to go down to Queensmead, and we used to play 2-on-2 for 45 minutes to an hour. And if you play that for an hour, you're knackered. Anyway, and yeah, we learned a lot of combinations and trying to, you know, you've got to really work hard in a 2-on-2 to manipulate space and create things that sometimes aren't there. And I think that translated onto a bigger pitch, and obviously spending those guys particularly, but even more like into our Natal setup, playing a lot with other guys, you know, yourself included, and really, I know Clarkie touched on the other day about like in Natal particularly, we played a lot together as Nepal players, and there was really a gelling kind of, and it created some beautiful hockey at times, which I don't see enough of, in my opinion, these days, and I don't know the answers to it, but we at times, I did think, get it right.
And Clarkie, just when I was chatting to Clarkie as well, just reminded me, Twash, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in 2001 you were nominated as an FIH Player of the Year. And we'll get into that a little bit when we play Up Your Game, the quiz, which I'm excited to do. But that time, the Commonwealth Games from 1998 through to like 2002, you were playing the best hockey of your life. And what do you put that down to?
Well, I think that was a lot of the time where the four of us used to just go meet at Queensmead and train. I think and I think maybe it was just, I've matured a little bit more as a player. If I can tell you one funny story about that 2001 where I got nominated, within all of that, and the guys who know me, I perhaps enjoyed the party side of hockey a little bit too much at times. And I don't know where I was in my headspace in 2001, but I was living the dream, if I can call it that. I was playing hockey during the day, and I was partying up with my mates in the evening, got involved in a really bad crowd, hackers, recorded those kind of oaks, skateboarding behind cars and doing crazy things. But the funny thing is, and I was drinking far too much, and I actually, this is a very, very true story. I went to that Champions Challenge in 2001, which is in December, where I ended up winning Player of the Tournament, and we were warming up our first game, and I hadn't trained properly leading up to that. I was not in the best condition physically, and I went to the change room, and I closed the cubicle, one of the toilets, I sat in, and I just said, Kelly, what are you doing? Just go out there and have some fun. You haven't prepared, because I was getting so stressed about it. I hadn't prepared properly, and it was almost like a weight lifted. I wasn't expecting anything, and I just went and I just played, and I got Player of the Tournament and subsequently nominated for one of the World Players of the Year. I'm not saying that that's a recipe for success, but it was just sometimes you actually just need to go on the field and enjoy it, and we sometimes put too much pressure on ourselves and whatever. Yeah. So any youngsters watching, don't. That's not advice.
Disclaimer.
It's just
okay.
a true story.
So Twash, it's come to my favorite part of these interviews. I'm going to put on my Quizmaster's glasses. Do you have some headgear?
Yeah.
You're sitting in stick stop, I can see. Just put your headgear on for the quiz. It's kind of like a hockey tradition when we have a fines meeting or.
My sponsor, JDH, right here. So, and my secondary sponsor, Green Bean Cafe.
Excellent. Lovely to see. I like that. And I like to see the guitar. It's looking a bit dusty there, Twash, and stick stop.
Yeah.
I'd have to dust that off and give us a rendition of Mike Cullen to end off the interview at the end. But I've got the stopwatch here. I'm going to ask you 10 questions in the quiz. They're very serious questions, so don't rush your answer. Clarkie got 80,000 points, so just so you know, it's kind of like the push-ups. He's going to smoke you. So let's just have the best, most creative answers. And remember, the truth is not always the correct answer, Twash. Okay, so I'm going to start. Here's the timer. I've started the clock, I think. There you go. I've started the clock. Okay. Are you ready, Twash?
Yeah, I am.
We're playing Up Your Game for 100,000 points. First question. True or false? One of your early girlfriends came to watch a test match, and she brought her mom to the game, and she had to lie to her mom about your real age. True or false?
True.
That is 100% correct. Can you tell us why, Twashi?
I was like 24, and I think she was 17. That's a fairly significant age gap. And she had told her mom, I think, that I was 21, which wasn't too bad. And then her mom got the program and saw that I was 24, 25, and said, he's not 21, he's 25. Or whatever. So that let the cat out the bag.
Twashi, amazing. 10,000 points for you. Okay, moving on to question 2. This quiz question comes from Scott Barton in the UK, and he says, playing for Natal Tech in the Club Champs final against Tuks. The lads went out, came home around 5 a.m. Obviously, that's not true. We know that's not true, Tosh. The game was at 11 a.m. With your teammates arriving late for the game and still sobering up, and the Tuks guys are doing drills and warming up for an hour before the game, your team talk went something along the lines of, well, I know who my money's on. What was the score in that game?
The score, I think, was either 7-1 or 8-1.
To you?
To us, yes.
Correct answer, Twashi. Scotty Barton says it's 9-1, but we know Scotty loves to exaggerate. So we'll call it 7-1. Save the Tuks guys a bit of face there. But so far you're on 20,000 points, Twashi. You're doing amazing. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
One of the best tours I've ever been on.
Best tour. Tell us why.
That was the last club champs that they had. And obviously Tech, we often won the league and we were always mates. That was the biggest thing. I mean, just a bunch of mates going out to play, and I was coaching that Tech side with Clarkie in some years, and we always treated it as like, okay, guys, this is your reward for winning the league. We want to win club champs, but we're also going to go and have fun. We're away on tour. We're a bunch of mates, and there was never any curfews. Just make sure you're responsible and whatever. Anyway, that particular year, I need to just do a few stories. So I go up with Camo to the managers meeting on the Wednesday night at Maritzburg, the AB Jackson. And now we're sitting at the managers meeting and we're not in the best nick. Now it's 2008, I've retired and Camo is, we're all a bit round. And I remember Stellenbosch, Marties, we had to practice the evening before. And these oaks had not 6 packs, they had 8 packs. And they were doing drills and they were running around and we were like waiting for our guys to come up from Durban so we could go to Crowded House or whatever. So I said to Camo, I think we could be in a bit of trouble here. We've got a good team, but I think this might undo us there. Anyway, so we just carried on our merry way. And we got into that last day. I can't remember all of it. There was a round robin because there was so many right number of teams. And so we got into that last day. And honestly, guys, we're rolling into an 8 o'clock game with McDonald's and whatever, and Tuckies were. They had 3 or 4 boxes in the side at the time, and I was like, "Oh!" So I called the guys. I said, "Guys, if we don't actually wake up here, we are going to get smoked because the Oaks were still having their Red Bulls and putting their shoes on." Anyway, so we started the game. I remember Wayne Madsen was absolutely outstanding that game. And we went like 1-0, 2-0. And I thought, no, this is too, it's like a dream. Yeah, this is Hollywood stuff. You know, you got these bunch of drunks against these young, like it's a movie. And I thought, they can't last. Next thing, 4-0 up at half time. And I said, guys, listen, if we win this game by like 7 goals, we could win the tournament on goal difference. And true's nuts, we won, I think it was 7 or 8, well, it must have been 8-1. And we needed a result to go away. It needed to be Maritzburg Varsity needed to draw with Marties after us, which happened, and we won. And I look back,
no ways.
Guys, like, there is no ways that bunch of out-of-shape old buddies should have won that tournament. But again, I think we were having so much fun. It was like, you know, yes, we played hard on the field, but we were just having fun. We just wanted to play and actually get the game over so we could go to the pub.
And you obviously played really, really well, Tosh. Amazing. That's a great anecdote. Question number 3 for 10,000 points, Tosh.
Yeah.
FIH Player of the Year nominee in 2001. Can you name the other nominees for 2,000 points each?
Tone de Nooijer.
Correct.
Actually, I remember him. I think there was a German. He was one of the top German guys.
I'll give you a clue. He played centre back and he captained them in Athens.
No, I'm not even going to get them, eh?
Florian.
Who was that? Florian Kunz.
Florian Kunz.
Florian Kunz. I think there would have been an Aussie guy in there.
There wasn't an Aussie. The others, do you give up, Tosh?
Lombi?
Yes. Lombi, correct. Jorge.
And, no, I won't even get the other one.
The other one was one that I was surprised by, Mario Almeida from Spain.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So you got 4,000 points, Twash, and you got
Yeah.
FIH nominated Player of the Year, which is an unbelievable achievement. The only South African, I think, to ever have had that honor.
I think Beefy
Beef had it?
might have got, I think so, or you got nominated into a World 11 or something. There was some, I'm sure you got something else as well, eh?
Okay, this next question I'm pretty confident you'll get. There's a bit of a build-up to this question, Twash, so be patient and concentrate. In that year, particularly 2001, your training regime was very stringent. Nightclubs, chasing chicks, surf trips down the coast. In fact, 2 weeks before going on tour, you were at a training camp in Scottsboro. You lost a game of fives and you had to sing karaoke. Can you name the song that you sang?
No, it was too easy, man. Stairway to Heaven.
100% Twashi. And that is a very long song.
It is a very long song.
And those poor South Coast ladies who were subjected to you singing for 7.5 minutes.
Well, I didn't actually sing for 7.5 minutes because, firstly, let me just tell you that it was like the South Coast regional trials or finals of so everyone else was singing these love song ballads and they were damn good. And then that was the reason we decided to play this fives, and I had to sing Stairway to Heaven. I couldn't even read the screen at this time, and eventually the DJ or whatever you call him, like running the show, he jumped in and sang the last half for me, and politely asked me to go sit down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I see in some of the comments there, Austin Smith as well, also nominated for FIH Player of the Year 2009. So well done, Aussie.
Okay, cool. Well done. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, 2001, the Men's Hockey Champions Challenge in Malaysia. You had a great tournament. You got Player of the Tournament in that tournament. For 10,000 points, Twashi, 5,000 points if you can tell me what the final score was and who played in it and who scored the goal.
In the final.
In the final.
Okay, the final was 2-1 to India against us.
Correct, Twashi. 5,000 points.
And the goal was scored by Denzel Dolly.
You are 100% correct. Congratulations, Twash. I didn't think you'd get that. Well done, the double Ds.
I Googled it like yesterday.
That's cheating. I'm taking off points. Okay. So Denzel, great goal in the final there. Good result. I mean, in that tournament was Belgium, Japan, Malaysia, Argentina, and then South Africa playing India in the final. So a really good result, that one. Okay, question number 6. It's also you're going to have to think long and hard about this one, Twash. You played hockey for South Africa, cricket for Natal, almost a scratch golfer, but there's one sport in your early days that Blackie Smith thoroughly cleaned your pipes at. Can you remember what that sport was?
Yes, marbles.
100% correct, Twashi. 10,000 points. Can you tell us the story?
Very quickly, I met the Smith brothers. Unfortunately, I met the Smith brothers when I was about 8, and they invited me around to their house. They'd just come down from Joburg. I went around with a whole bag of marbles. I came home with not one marble. And now that I know the Smiths, and there was definitely skullduggery going on there. And but anyway, it was a good introduction, and they become like my extra family.
Amazing. Question number 7, Twash, for 10,000 points. This one comes from Blocks, so be prepared. Blocks' quiz question is, after returning from a World Cup qualifier in Poland, the team arrived at Jan Smuts Airport and you were called to a press conference. You left your luggage with your mom and dad at customs while you spoke to the press. Your dad was stopped at customs and they found some contraband in your luggage. For 10,000 points, what was in your luggage and did you ever get it back?
Those were the days of, it was very hard to get your stuff on, let's say, top shelf magazines. And, you couldn't get them in South Africa, but you could in Poland. So I purchased 2 or 3 and put them into my bag. fortunately, my old man got stopped, and then he said to me, he said he had to do some fancy talking and whatever, and they managed, and so he got let through. But he said to me, I went through some pain, so I'm keeping the magazine. So I never got that back.
What a champion. All right. Serious hockey question. Commonwealth Games in 2002 in Manchester, I believe it was.
Yes.
Didn't end that great for South Africa. The bronze medal match against Paki.
Yes.
What was the final score? And which Pakistan player scored 5 goals in the game?
The goal scorer easy. That's Sahel Abbas. And I think, if I remember, I think it was 11-1.
Is that your final answer, Twash?
That is my final answer.
Okay, you're absolutely correct on Sahel. He scored 5 out of 5 drag flicks, 100% record, and the score was 10-2.
10-2. Okay.
10-2 in the bronze medal match. Yeah.
I knew there were 12 goals.
There was a lot of goals to remember. All right. Excellent. Question 9. True or false question. This one comes from Sevens, and Sevens' quiz question says, a week before playing in the Champions Challenge in Malaysia, where you won player of the tournament, you were having such a bad run, you threatened to burn all of your hockey sticks at the Smith's bonfire at 90 Edmonds Road. True or false?
True.
True. It's a true story. Why was that, Twash? What was happening?
Well, as I said, I hadn't trained the best that I could, and I remember we're having training session after training session, and just when things just get it's just a downward spiral, and that was why I went into the change room and gave myself a talking to, because I got myself into quite a state, negative state about where my hockey was and what I could do and whatever. And one funny story added to that was, I remember we had a training session at Queensmead, and they've got that massive net behind the goal closest to the pub. And I don't know, I missed a really stupid ball or goal or whatever, and I tried to throw my stick into the net out of frustration, and I missed the net. And you know how big that net is. It's like it's almost impossible to miss that net. And I just thought, this is like, I can't even hit the net. I mean, that's how bad it is. Anyway, it all
amazing. I see Dave Staniforth has joined. Was Stani the goalkeeper in that 10-2 loss to Pakistan by any chance?
No, I think it was actually, Hibbs started, and then I think Stani came on. But if I can remember correctly, and I think it was Hibbs, it might have been Stani, but I remember he literally scored a goal in every corner. It was like He was actually so he went bottom left, top right, bottom right. So he did around the board kind of thing. It was it wasn't great to be on the receiving end, but you kind of look back and just go, gee, I mean, he could seriously flick. He was proper, and if he was on song, doesn't matter who was in goals, you ain't going to stop it.
Yeah, 100%.
I remember. We discussed having 3 oaks on the line, just wearing
one in each corner.
one in each corner.
Amazing. Your final question. This is interesting. Twash, you're on 75,000 points, and Clarkie got 80,000. So you need 5,000 points to tie or 10,000 to win. So there's a lot on the line for your very last question in Up Your Game, Twash. So here's the final question.
Good.
Barcelona 1992. You went with a group. I think there were under 21s, under 17s, under 16s. And I know this because it's the first time that Sevens ever saw a porno mag without the stars on it, courtesy of you. Can you name the coach on that tour for 10,000 points?
The coach was Puffy Edwards.
No, Twashy! You've blown it. Clarkie's beaten you. The coach was Jock Coombs.
Oh! No, man.
And right at the death, Clarkie's beaten you, just like at golf and squash and tennis and all those things. Well done, Clarkie. Sorry, Twash. You're drinking out of your left hand for the rest of Good Friday. Sorry, my friend.
Well done,
But good quiz, Twash. You just blew it at the end there. No luck. But thanks for playing. That was very good. I'm going to take my Quizmaster's glasses off now. And I must stop the clock. Nearly 16 minutes. Sheesh. All right, Twash. So we're gonna kind of wind it down, wrap it up now in the next 10 minutes or so. So I had like one or two other things I wanted to ask you about. Some serious, some not so serious. A lot of people want to know the pizza box story, so I'm going to leave that to you if you want to tell it as a closing story. But before we get there,
it's not a great story for me, but it's very, very funny. It's also like one of those movie moments, and I think I don't particularly like to tell it, but it's so funny that I feel I need to tell it.
Okay, well, it's up to you if you want to tell it at the end or not. But the one serious question that a lot of people don't know, you should have gone to 3 Olympic Games, and you ended up not going to an Olympics. It was the one tournament that eluded you. Tell us a little bit about that, Twash.
Well, actually, if I can go back, besides that, I also missed 2 World Cups, for which the Olympics is bigger, but so yeah, in terms of the Olympics, well, so I was World Cup. I started playing in 1993, January 93, when we got back into isolation. I played every tournament up until the one before the World Cup in 94. And Featherstone had just come in, and I got dropped for the World Cup. And I think January, that was like in November or something, in 94. January 95, I was back in the team. Played most of, or good period of 95, and then got left out again by Featherstone, who coached at 96. So I missed I missed the 96 World Cup Olympics in Atlanta. He didn't see eye to eye. He didn't want me on the side, so I missed out on that. Then, very first tournament after the Olympics, Giles took over. I think it was Giles. Yeah. I think it was Giles. Yeah, it was. And now I got back in the side and played. Then we had the 2000 debacle where
you qualified, it didn't go.
Qualified, and they wouldn't send us. 98, we didn't qualify for the World Cup. The Clarkie talked about it, where we were 4-1 up against Canada in particular, and lost 5-4. 4-1 up with like 10 minutes to go. Lost 5-4. Totally butchered it, and I think that cost us our place. Anyway, so we didn't qualify for 98 World Cup. Missed 2000 Olympics, Noxa. Then 2004, by then I was 32, and I was playing overseas, and I had a really good contract with club there, Old Lights. Played with Jabba, and it was a tough call. Revs was coaching then, and he wanted us back for quite a long extended period before the Olympic qualifier. Financially, it was for me, it was too big a decision, and so I was 32 then, and I was like, needed to do more than live like a student. So I made a decision not to come back, and he always said to me that, well, if you don't come back and the team qualifies, you're going to be on the back foot to make the final Olympic team, which unfortunately, I think that played out because, and I'm not going to argue whether that's right or wrong, but that, Revs was the coach, and he made that call. And he put it out there, so I made the decision to basically go for the buck rather than the Olympic Games, because at that stage I kind of felt it was
well, the odds are really small as well. I think if we should have obviously qualified at that horrendous tournament in Abuja at the All Africa Games, where we were 2-0 up against Egypt and ended up losing. No, sorry, it was 1-0 up and we ended up losing 2-1 in the last 10 seconds of the game.
There was, so just for the people who don't know, maybe that's a story worth telling. I mean, so we were 1-0 up with literally probably 20 seconds to go, and I had the ball on the Egyptian baseline, and I pulled it onto one of the Egyptian guys' feet. Umpire didn't see it, and had we got the free hits, that would have been the game done. Umpire
and Olympic qualification.
And Olympic qualification, that's it. Yeah, it was the final. And he didn't see it. The Jippo literally backsticked it straight down the field. I remember somebody got a toe end on it, and it went 90 degrees the other direction, straight
Straight to
their
Bilal
open
Ibrahim.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he hit one backstick, hit the oak in the shin pad, and went in the goals.
And that was 1-1, and then we went to that sudden.
Then we went to golden goal. Yeah, that was it. Devastating.
Yeah, so I mean, we're 20 seconds away from going, and then you're 100% right. I mean, I looked at it was a massive decision for me 2004 because I hadn't been to Olympics, and I looked at the teams, and if we were dead cert to qualify, I probably would have been more, but like we were going to be 50-50 at best, but less, and it was just too much financially for me at that stage to give up. On a 50-50. So yeah, probably looking back now, maybe maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have. Also paid for my first flat that extra little bit. So
sure,
who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Amazing, Tosh. Well, yeah, I think it kind of brings us to the end of the chat. But just want to say thanks so much, man, and. It's been a privilege to chat, and it's so great that I still get to see quite a lot of you living just down the road, and we still play a lot of hockey for Rovers, which is a lot of fun, and we play a little bit of Masters hockey. So hopefully you'll still play Colts for a couple more seasons. I know the boys are desperate for you to hang on in the 35s, but it's just been an honour to play with you and learn from you, and obviously have a lot of cold beers off the pitch with you these last couple of years.
Fine, appreciate it, man. I just want a couple of, can I end, are we going to end off now?
You can end whenever you want, yeah.
So firstly, I got a really nice message from Candace Ford last night. Just to shout out to the old tech girls. Had a really good years coaching them. And the Rovers Oaks. That's who I want to give a shout out. The Rovers Oaks. That's what a legend bunch of guys. And then I also our last story before I tell the pizza box story is I was thinking back when you decided to ask me to do this and whatever, and I thought funny stories or whatever, and probably the best that I don't know how many people know was the Intercontinental Cup, which Clarky mentioned the other day. We were very new into international hockey, and we played India. I think it was our second game, if I remember correctly. And Lux was playing left half, Sean Cook. And India had this guy, Mukesh Kumar, played right wing for them. He was so fast, and the dandiest legs you've ever seen. Couldn't catch a pig in a corridor. But it was fast. So they got the push back, and they straight away they threw an overhead diagonally to left half. Lux was still tying his shoes. He wasn't even watching the game. Mukesh Kumar obviously broke a little bit. He picked it up one bounce, ran into the D. Remember, Shane Skinner's goalie. He still had the cane pads, and he was busy adjusting them. And he looked up, and the ball was already in the goal. It was, I think, 7 seconds. 7 seconds. I've tried to Google it to see if it's the fastest international goal, but it has to be, because I don't even think you can run straight from the halfway line to the top of the D and score in 7 seconds. And then the best thing was they got back to the halfway line, and Gary Boddington said to one of the Indian Oaks with a deadpan face, he says, "Hey, come on, man, we weren't ready. Can't we start again?"
Bodders, that's typical.
So there we were. I mean, we were so wet behind the ears, and those were good learning. We learned a heck of a lot from all those things, but it was so funny. I mean, just one of my fondest on-field hockey memories. It's just an absolute dog show.
I'm definitely going to have Blocks on this little platform and ask him about that one, Tosh.
Yeah, no, he'd be good on this. So I think maybe just to end off with the pizza box story. So
let's do it.
I'll try to keep it relatively short. So I think it was a Tri-Nations in Egypt. Ourselves, obviously Egypt and Switzerland. Switzerland. So anyway, we had a day off, 3 days. So the tournament organizers arranged for us to share a bus, ourselves and the Swiss team. We were at the back, the Swiss team on the front, and we're going to do a tour through Cairo, going to pyramids and museums and all sorts. So obviously the hotel gave us these little packed cardboard box lunches that we've got for the day. So we head off. We go to the museum. I remember that, and we just leave the museum, and hey, my stomach starts to rumble. So I remember Robbie Cullen was coaching, and it's getting a bit worse. I said, Robbie, I need to go to the toilet. Number 2, yeah. He says, go ask the bus driver. So I asked the bus driver, and he spoke in English. He tells me, I said, can we stop somewhere? Now, Cairo is like hectic, 22 million people or something. There's no public toilets. So he says, no, permits. So I said, how long the permit? He said, 45 minutes. I said, you're kidding. So now I'm like, don't you sweat? There was actually somebody else who was also struggling. I think it might have been Spider Murray or whatever. I don't know. So eventually, like, this goes on for like 15 minutes, and now I'm actually in pain. So I remember saying, Robbie's sitting at the back with me. I said, Rob, it's coming out. It's just wet. So anyway, so they start taking stuff out of the picnic boxes and arrange a few picnic boxes for me. So right in the back seats. Yes, and I'm so embarrassed. I mean, I'm like, everyone's looking at me. It's commotion. And I like pull my rods down, and it just all comes out. And like there are a couple of things that stick in my mind in the story is it hadn't even hit the box, and the whole Swiss team turned around and oh, what is that? And I'm so embarrassed. Anyway, so now it's like a bit of cleanup, and it's all so I don't know what to do with myself. So I'm obviously flustered. We get to the pyramids now. I'm feeling a lot better, and I've got these 2 cardboard boxes. So and there's a prefab toilet there, obviously for tourists. So I take these things. I'm going to go find a dustbin. I can dump them. So there's a toilet attendant. So I'm not. So so I had these boxes, and so I wasn't thinking too clearly, and this guy was like demanding the boxes from me. So I gave them to him, and he obviously opened them expecting. So I wasn't thinking tourists give him leftover lunches and whatever. And he opened these boxes, and they weren't quite what he was expecting. And this just bananas. He went flicking off in Egyptian to all of his mates, and I can't really blame him. I mean, but so I wasn't thinking too clearly, and only afterwards I realized what he was expecting and what he got, not the same. Anyway, so it was highly embarrassing, but I know so many people have asked me to tell it. It's quite, in a way, humorous.
No, amazing, Tosh. Well, thanks for being brave enough to tell that one. I've heard it so many times, and every time just makes me laugh. But I think just so much thanks, Tosh, for giving up your time to just chat and to tell the stories. You're an absolute legend, and you set such an amazing example for so many young hockey players. I know you still are doing a lot of coaching, and I think the youngsters of today could learn so much from you, and they will continue to learn so much from you, because I know that you love hockey and you have so much to share. Just really, really stoked to be able to document that kind of thing with you today. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Juan. Appreciate it, and thanks for the kind words. And I think a lot of us, we all play hockey for the same reasons. We enjoy the game, we enjoy the people. There's a lot of great people who play this game right around the country, around the world. So I think that's what really drives us to carry on playing, these Masters and all these club games and whatever. But thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it, and look forward to whoever's next, sharing and listening to some of their stories and whatever.
100%. Thanks, Twashi.
Cool.
So folks, for all of you guys out there, thanks again for tuning in. Obviously, this is only our second edition of these live interviews. And like I said, unfortunately, I didn't manage to save the one of Clarkie from Wednesday, but I did promise Clarkie that we'd do another interview and catch up, and I'm going to post them. Big thanks to Sevens for helping me with this, and also to my business partner, Mel, who's been helping me on the tech side of things. So we've set up a Facebook page, we've set up a YouTube channel, and I hope that this time it's actually saved the interview, and then we're going to post the stuff to to Facebook, which is easy, I think, for a lot of the older generation to access, and also to YouTube, so we can just watch the videos whenever you want. But please share the word, spread the SA Hockey Legends Instagram handle to your mates who would like to benefit. And if you have any questions, please send them in, or any feedback, just drop me a DM on the Instagram, or just send me a WhatsApp. But it's amazing to see how much momentum this little experiment has gained in the last week. And we're definitely going to spread the net a bit wider, have some of the older folks on, like the Mike Madsons of this world, and definitely a couple of the guys from Cape Town and Joburg, just to keep it diverse. And trying to line up Neddy and Beefy and Marbs and a couple of other guys. So in the coming weeks, it'll be lekker to all just to chat to them and get some insights and hear some of those stories of the good old days. And definitely, I think guys like Austin Smith and Tim Drummond, and I'd love to have Springs on. So you guys send your suggestions. Please, we'd love to hear them. Anyone you want to hear from. And don't forget to hit the like button and the follow button. And yeah, we'll see you with another edition soon. So thanks so much for tuning in, folks. Lots of love to you all in this trying time that we're under. But I think as hockey players, we are resilient, and we're a caring and mindful community. So I know that we're all looking out for each other. So I'll hopefully see you soon. I'll see you next time. Stay safe.